Thank you all for being here tonight. What a great audience. I have a very simple way of stating my case for the motion, and it's a conclusion that's based on some facts. Facts are good. So here are a few facts. If you Google Tibetan independence, you'll get back pointers to some sites that advocate the freedom of Tibet from Chinese rule. Tibet.org, friendsofTibet.org, sites associated with the Dalai Lama, and others. You'll also get back some sites that advocate against the freedom of Tibet from Chinese rule. That's if you go home tonight and use the version of Google that you have available to you in this country. But if you do it inside China, you won't get references to Tibet.org or friendsofTibet.org, except perhaps for references to sites explaining that those are illegal and banned organizations. Or Epoch Times. Epoch Times is a Chinese newspaper, an uncensored Chinese newspaper. You can find it on the internet. Just Google Epoch Times. But try to do that in China, and you will not find your way to Epoch Times. Same thing with human rights, if you Google that, or various spiritual practices. The world looks very different through the window that Google provides in China than through the window on the world that you have available to yourselves here. In fact, it's not the picture window on the world. It's a distorted lens that has been built, custom built by Google to Chinese specifications. Now, how did that happen? Google is the company whose mission is to organize the world's information and to make it universally accessible and useful. How did it come to be in the business of creating the distorting lens rather than the picture window on the world? Well, in 2004, Google was entering the international market. It wanted to be the #1 search engine in the world. It started to do business in China. And the Chinese said, we don't want you to show our citizens the world as it really is, with all of its complexities and its contradictions and its inconsistent sources of information. We want the Chinese citizens to know the world the way we want them to know the world. And Google said, okay, we'll give them that world instead of the world as it really is. Their choice was to accept the Chinese ultimatum or to go home. They could have gone home. They didn't. They stayed and built the engine as the Chinese wanted it. Now, it's a wonderful product. I agree with everything that's been said about what a wonderful product it is and what a wonderful company it is. But here it's been turned from a wonderful product that we know into an instrument of thought control. Now, some may weakly claim that it's doing more good than harm, that the Chinese people are better off getting partial information via the Google search window than getting no information at all. That's nonsense. There are other search engines to which you can get the censored truth if that's what you want people to provide. Google didn't choose the lesser of two evils when faced with the Chinese ultimatum. It chose the more profitable of the two evils. And for that reason, you should vote for the proposition that Google is violating its "Don't Be Evil" motto. They had a simple choice that was put before them. I stopped a street vendor here in New York last week who was selling Tibetan jewelry. He was a Tibetan. And I said, I'm going to debate this issue. What do you think the answer is? I didn't have to explain it to him. He knew exactly that Google works differently inside China than it does here. And here is what he said. He said, Google had a choice between morality and money, and it chose money. That's why Google is violating its "Don't Be Evil" motto. It's a company that does many good works. It's true that Google as a whole is not evil. I'll grant that, but that's not the question before us. If the question before us was Google is evil, that's what the question would be. That isn't the question. The question is, does it violate what it claims about not being evil? A good indicator that you're doing something wrong is that the Congress hauls your executives in front of them and yells at you. And Congress has gotten into the habit of doing this several times. Most recently in May, Senator Richard Durbin confronted Google executives on this censorship question and said, when you're asked to be complicit in restricting the flow of information, aren't your hands a little dirty at the end of the day if you participate in that? There is legislation under consideration to prohibit exactly what Google is doing. Now, to be sure, Google is in the business to make money. If it doesn't sell advertising anywhere, then it's not going to make money, but it's making plenty of money. And it would have been such a statement to the international world about the importance of information freedom. My friends, you are here tonight because you value the robust debate of conflicting ideas. You value facts. You believe the truth is revealed through this kind of debate and conflict. You must vote for this proposition if you support the idea that creating censorship tools is a form of evil. Finally, just let me close with one analogy. Suppose Google were not a search engine company, but a pharmaceutical company, and it was told by the Chinese government that it could sell aspirin in China only if it also made certain forms of brainwashing drugs and thought control medications. And that was the condition on which it would you could sell aspirin in China. No responsible American company would make that deal with the Chinese authorities. And that is exactly what Google is doing in the digital realm. So please vote for the motion. Google violates its don't be evil model because they do. Thank you.